First, though, author and blogger Giovanna Fletcher is here. She's made news all over the world this week after interviewing the Duchess of Cambridge for her parenting podcast.
If you could write a letter to anyone about motherhood, who would it be to?
I think I'd like to have written to myself at the beginning of my pregnancy with my first child, because I've learned a huge amount that I would really love to go back and really sort of tell myself.
Do you struggle with mum guilt for having the
Yes,
child?
absolutely. I think anyone who doesn't as a mother is actually like, yeah, all the time. It's a constant challenge. You're always sort of questioning your own decisions and your own judgments. And I think that starts from the moment you have a baby.
And Giovanna's here now, and her new book, Letters on Motherhood, it's out today. Gosh, you've been busy.
I know, it's one of those things, isn't it? You work really hard on two things, then they both happen in the same week.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
I mean, the podcast, though, it is an extraordinary podcast anyway. It's just really seems to have tapped into... I know myself, just having my first little one, it really helps to hear other people talking about their situations. It makes you feel a little bit normal, makes you feel like you're going through certain things and you're not the only one. And I think the podcast obviously does that for so many. I know that the Duchess of Cambridge was on your wish list for some time.
From day one, yes.
To actually have her in front of you then and speak very candidly and very honestly, it must have been just a real moment for you.
Yes, like the week before, I literally wasn't sleeping. And I think because you've been on my wish list for so long, and my dream guest, I think it's one thing to actually want someone on and then to get them and then kind of go, oh my gosh, that comes with so much responsibility. But as soon as I actually started planning out the episode, and what I do every time is I map it out, I write loads of questions and then I don't look at the paper at all. And just enjoy the chat and just kind of get lost in it. But yeah, as soon as I started remembering that I was just talking to another mum, everything else sort of made sense.
Well, halfway through it, I kind of forgot it was her, and I mean that in the best possible sense. It was just another mum talking very honestly. We're heard there about mum guilt and, you know, feeling bad that you're not managing to drop all the children off at all of their events and everything else. I mean, we've just all been there, really.
Yeah, we have.
And it doesn't matter where you've come from.
No, and that's what the podcast is all about. It doesn't matter who you are, what you have, what you do. There are so many parts of motherhood that we all can relate to, and it's a complete leveller. We were talking about that lack of sleep. Literally, it just gets you.
And you end up talking about it loads. I've got to stop talking about my lack of sleep.
I had 7 hours the other night, the most amount of sleep I think
saw
I've
that
ever
your
had.
Instagram.
I felt rotten yesterday. I felt so terrible. I'm better with no sleep. But yeah, so that's the idea of the podcast. So to have her on, and it's a brilliant time for her. The amount of work that she's done in early years, and that's the amazing thing with the podcast, is you really understand how passionate she is and how much she cares for the early years. And with the survey, you know, the 5 big questions, she's really wanting to listen to other people and what they think.
Yeah, you really get that from her, to be fair, don't you? But the new book, Letters on Motherhood, and this is such a lovely idea, Giovanna, and I read it and I found parts of it really emotional because I can really hear you saying the words. And it was a collection of letters that you've written, not just for your boys when they were in your belly, but for lots of people around you, including your husband, Tom, your family, friends, and indeed strangers.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's a real mix, and it covers sort of universal themes that we all feel, whether it's talking about love, bullying, you know, mental health, body positivity, how we are with each other. Love's a massive thing for me, and I think that's one thing that as parents we want our children to feel safe and loved, but as they grow up you can't control love. You know they're going to get their heart broken. You can't stop that from happening. So the letters have been an amazing way to sit down, focus on the boys, think about what I want to say and really get it out. It's been like therapy in a weird way.
Of course it is. And I'm guessing for you to read some of that back is probably quite difficult sometimes.
Yes, yeah, and I've really cried. I got to the end of it, because obviously it goes through loads of different edits, and then the copy edit, the page edit, and the pictures that go in, you have to read it through again to make sure it all works. And I found myself on one going, wow, you're so hard on yourself. And this book is, you know, it was amazing to get it all down and to see it on paper and realise that as parents, we do take all of that pressure and all of that strain and we think it's all on us. And actually, it's okay. Like, I was talking to someone the other day, actually, and we were talking about life, and so work and life balance, and how we always think that life and family life, they're glass balls. So all the juggling, glass balls in this hand, plastic balls are the work. But actually, everything has plastic and glass balls within it. And even family time, family life has plastic balls that you can drop, like the drop-offs or the pickups, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to drop those balls occasionally. And likewise in work, it's okay to have some glass balls in there floating around. It doesn't mean that they can all be mixed together, which I think is why, as parents or anyone, we just have so much on.
Yeah, and it's the comparison thing as well, which you touch on in the book. But there's one particular letter that you wrote to this stranger that you came across at a swimming pool, and this was another mum of 4 boys, and she was obviously a bit more mature and had a bit more experience, but she felt the need to tell you. And we've all sort of been there where you're so aware that your little one's the only one crying, and then someone comes to try to fix it. And as much as they're helping, it really sometimes doesn't.
No, she wasn't helping at all. And I think it was the point in the conversation, and I couldn't even find it within myself to say, I'm a mother of 3, I've got 2 others. This isn't, you already think I'm terrible at this one. I'm not going to tell you that I've got more. It's the point where she said, I'm just a much more experienced mother. That I was quite taken aback, and I literally spent the rest of the day crying. Because for me, I'd wanted this lovely little moment with Buddy, and it was our day to go off swimming and do loads of fun things together, and he just didn't want to get in the pool. That's, as toddlers sometimes don't want to do.
And we've all
nice
been there,
things.
and that's the moment where you just want someone to go, don't worry about it.
Exactly, that's what
Don't
you
worry
need.
about it.
Don't worry about it. I've been there.
Yeah.
Totally understand.
Yeah,
Not,
and give you that
should be
lovely look.
Doing something else.
Yeah, it just resonated with me because I've had that moment where you think, oh gosh, is everyone looking?
Yeah, I know.
I totally get it. Do you think you've changed then as a mum, now having 3, having being the experienced mother, as she so rightly spoke of?
I think I have, and I think, interestingly, writing the letters, doing the podcast, speaking to other mums and dads, I think it does change my outlook on it. It makes me realise that everyone... Oh, there he is.
Look at them. Let's guess whose footsteps they're following.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it makes me realise that we're all just making it up. And I think beforehand, when I first had Buzz, I thought that I should have all of the answers. I think we all look to our parents to having all of the answers. And I think writing the letters and writing to my own mum and dad, speaking to my mum and dad, I think it's made me realise that none of us do.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what stage you're at in life, you're still making it up.
Yeah,
and that's
every day.
important.
And you just, you're lucky when you get through it, basically,
Yeah, exactly.
isn't it? Well, Giovanna, honestly, it's such a beautiful book, very, very moving at times. It's sort of, everyone should read it. It's one of those, if you're a mum, or indeed a dad, to be fair, I think it's a real insight into everything. So thank you so much. And like we say, Letters on Motherhood is out today.
Thanks for watching this video. If you would like to subscribe, hit that button right now. And if you want to see more videos like this, just go to the playlist. It's all there.